Hello, everyone. This is Ashley Ray with Boldface Consulting, and today we're going to be discussing resume secrets. And I'm going to give you 21 secrets to making a killer resume with absolutely no experience. Here are my social media accounts. One big call out here is my website, www.boldfaceconsulting.com. This website is for organizations, professionals, students, as well as individuals looking for a change. This provides career coaching and professional development services, consulting services, and a lot more. I also have a members vault, and this is free, unlimited resources for readily available downloads. And so, if you're looking for toolkits, how to guides, templates, ebooks, webinars, plus more, again, completely unlimited free resources. It will be forever free with no credit card required. Please visit my website to get a lot of free goodies. Before we jump into the webinar, I want to tell you a little bit about me. And so I am a current PhD student. I am at the end of my dissertation. I've already submitted all 5 of my chapters, and I'm looking to graduate August 2019. I'm so excited. I can't wait to finish. So that tells you a little bit about my current endeavors with education, but I do hold 2 master's degrees as well as a bachelor's degree, and I also have certifications in coaching, transformational coaching, and wellness coaching. Now, my background overall is a cluster of things. I have experience in organizational consulting, success coaching, career coaching. I've been a recruiter and hiring manager for about 8 years, as well as an executive coach, and I specialize in a lot of different areas, including diversity and inclusion. Um, so for me, my experience over the past 8 years has been a cluster of motivational speaking, hiring manager interviews and recruiting efforts, diversity and inclusion, recruitment strategies. I've supported tech roles and logistics roles, merchandising roles. I have been all over the place when it comes to my goals for human resources and organizational consulting and professional development overall. So that tells you a little bit about me. As we jump into the discussion for this webinar, we are going to talk about resumes and their content. What exactly are hiring managers and recruiters looking for? What are your skills and how we can implement those skills into your resumes, as well as how to be more competitive in the market overall? So, secret number 1, recruiters and hiring managers only spend about 15 seconds reviewing a resume. It's a fact. As working as a hiring manager as well as a recruiter, you usually meet hundreds of thousands of candidates each year in person, online. Someone's always reaching out to you or emailing you their resume of interest. And so we typically don't have time to spend 1 minute on every single resume or 1 minute talking to every single candidate. And so those 15 seconds are absolutely important when it comes to submitting your resume. So, secret number 2, avoid the trash pile. Like, this is absolutely important. But how do you avoid it? Your lack of formatting with a resume can completely turn off a recruiter and hiring manager. Everything needs to be listed, easy to see and read with a good font that's a great size, at least an 11 to 12 size font. Use bolds and italics and things to make certain words pop is key. Missing dates and key information can be a challenge. So, for example, if you don't have dates to your project work or your internship work or employment work, that could be challenging to figure out. And as a recruiter and hiring manager, they should not have to figure out anything about you. Instead, that information should already be there, readily available for them to review. Having irrelevant information on your resume is a huge no-no. Just think about it. Anything that's not relevant to your job itself, to your experience or expertise, to your education should not be on your resume. So, to give you an example, if you're in school right now for merchandising, but your resume has on there the Chick-fil-A role that you've had for the past 3 years in college, that is called irrelevant information. So, to put it in better terms for you, if the role or experience or project or internship has nothing to do with your skills or your background or education, it is then labeled as irrelevant and does not need to be on your resume. Missing contact information. You would be surprised how many resumes I get that do not have a valid email address or do not have their telephone number on the resume. This can become challenging for recruiters and hiring managers just because they want to get in contact with you. So they need to be able to email you or call you when they want to schedule an interview or discuss more with you or pre screen with you, ask follow up questions. And so, if your email is incorrect and they get a kickback, you might end up in the trash pile because how else would they get in contact with you? And if you do not have a telephone number listed, this is also a very important step in the process. You have to have your current email present and your current telephone number present for contact details. Last but not least, using paragraph style instead of bullet points. It's a resume. So your eyes can go cross eyed very quickly if you are looking at a resume and you see paragraphs. Bullet points are much easier. Each bullet point should be tied to your education, skills, and experience. And instead of using paragraph styles where people can get lost in a paragraph, bullet points will keep you straight to the point without giving too much or too little information. Secret number 3. If you don't have experience, then adding projects to your resume with specific details will be a key place for you to do so. And so a lot of candidates that I meet do not have experience at all. So what should they do? A cheat sheet for this would be to add in project work, but projects that are specific to your education, your skills, and of course, your expertise. And in that section, you should talk about what you did in that project, how you contributed to that project, your team dynamic and your role, what you did. Did you lead a team? Did you create the project on your own? Was it school related? Was it outside of school? Giving those details are very important, as well as the success of the project. Were you successful? What were your strengths that you built from the project or your weaknesses that you identified, and so on. And last but not least, the key takeaways of the project. By you working on that project, what did you implement? What changed? What was the purpose? And how did you contribute to that purpose? With this section, you should treat it exactly like an employment section. You should have the title of the project, your title or role in that project, and the dates that you worked on that project for. Secret number 4, formatting equals life. This is super important. So using a header with the following information is key. So of course your name. And your name should be the biggest thing on your resume. It should pop out. I should not have to search for it. Recruiting or hiring managers shouldn't have to look for it or try to find out where your name is. It should be bold and big on your resume. Location is key. A lot of candidates do not put location on their resume. I don't suggest you put your address unless you just absolutely want to, but your location is key for the recruiting and hiring manager to know. So for example, Bentonville, Arkansas, Los Angeles, California, Houston, Texas. That lets that recruiter or hiring manager know where you are located, because the job might be in that specific city, or it might be in that specific state, or it could be out of state, and they need to know beforehand where you are. Your contact information, such as your personal email address and your telephone number, like I've said, are very important. And I always recommend candidates to put their personal email address and not their school email address, because some schools will say, yes, it's a Gmail account, you'll have access to it 6 months prior to school. And a lot of schools don't allow you. And once you graduate, that email is no longer valid. And so if you're placing applications, I don't know, 2-3 months before you graduate or even after, eventually that email address is going to get a kickback to that recruiter or hiring manager. So it's absolutely important that you have your personal, because you know that your personal Gmail account, Yahoo account, or any accounts that you use, obviously is free and will not have any kickbacks because you will continue to use it. And with that email address, make sure it's a professional email. I highly suggest you use your first name dot last name at gmail.com or your first name at gmail.com or something of the sorts. Do not use anything that's profound or not professional. Developing a format and making sure that everything is aligned is important. Once you create your resume, have a few people look at it and take time like to do something else and come back to it. That way you have also a fresh set of eyes as far as seeing what's on the resume. Make sure that things pop out, are easy to find and easy to see. Provide a summary of what type of role you are inquiring about. So this is usually called a summary section or objective section immediately under your name and contact information header. And this lets the recruiter and hiring manager know just a little snippet about you. So you can think of this as like a cover letter, but and way less sentences. So just telling them what you're looking for, how you can contribute to the role, what your skills are. For example, I'm Ashley Ray, and I have 8 years of experience in recruiting and human resources, and I specialize in diversity and inclusion, recruitment, success coaching, executive coaching, and HR onboarding strategy. And I am seeking a role that blah, 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 blah. So that's just to give you an example of what a summary or objective section would look and sound like. And it's easy to fill out and understand and directly to the point. List your education in details. So your degree, your type of degree, your school, if you're undergrad, what's your major, what's your minor, etc. Make sure you have these listed out with the exact dates for not only your education but work projects and etc. So even with your school section, this is important, especially when listing dates, because this lets the hiring manager know, especially if you are enrolled in school, when your anticipated graduation date will be. And so, for example, December 2019. That lets them know that you are seeking to graduate at that time, so therefore they can consider you for an internship or a full-time role. And so you need to have that on there. Do not put May 2011 to present. Present tells a hiring manager and a recruiter absolutely nothing about when you are anticipating on completing that degree or that certification or program. So make sure that those details are on there as well. Secret number 5. So details are absolutely key. Come on, this is a resume. So do not summarize dates like summer 2019. Rather, use exact dates like May 2019 to August 2019. I get a lot of pushback about this specific detail from candidates. And here I'm going to explain to you exactly why this is important. So, let's say you did an internship from May 2019 to August 2019, but on your resume, you summarize that as summer 2019. One thing I said in the beginning of this webinar is we don't want anyone trying to figure out anything about you from your resume. You want the details to be very black and white, very straightforward. And so summer 19 can be perceived in a lot of different ways. For example, summer 19 could be 10 weeks long. Summer 19 could be 2 months long, 1 month long, 4 months long. You do not want the recruiter or hiring manager to guess what you are trying to say, but rather you want them to know that you did an internship from May 2019 to August 2019. Now, here's why this is very important. May to August is 4 months. May, June, July, August. I don't care if you started May 1st, and I don't care if you ended August 1st. It can be understood as 4 months. And you do not want a hiring manager or recruiter to look at summer 19 and calculate that as 10 weeks. There's a huge difference between a 2-month internship and a 4-month internship. So that clarity must be specific on your resume. List any certifications that you have. And this can be absolutely outside of school. So I always suggest candidates to do things outside of school. You can get certifications very early on in your careers. And if you are able to do so, I would highly suggest you do, because a certification section can also go with a skills section. And so when you're specifying the skills that you have obtained, your leadership development skills, or your team dynamics, or your Excel training, or whatever skills that you have developed in your current area, your certifications could go along with that. So, for example, um, if your degree is merchandising, just to keep it simple, there's, I'm sure, or might be a merchandising certification that you can obtain before you graduate. And that will give you a more competitive edge as a candidate, because not only did you just go to school and study and pass these tests and make a 4.0 GPA, but you also got certifications outside of school. That initiative can make you way more competitive in the market than just being a student that graduated, or being a professional that's in your field with nothing else to show for outside of your expertise and your education. So, more competitive edges in the market, I would highly suggest you get some certifications if applicable. If it's not, then that's okay too. Provide your work, internship, volunteer experience, of course, with relevance to the job or relevance to your education. I know I've kind of talked about this in earlier slides, but it's very important. The things that you list on your resume need to be relevant to your education, your experience, your expertise, and that job. Period. Last but not least, use buzzwords. Buzzwords are so important and so just fun. It kind of honestly brings your resume to life. And so if you need any help with buzzwords, I have a list on my website on boldfaceconsulting.com, a free download of 72 best buzzwords to use for your resume and cover letter, as well as in an interview. Easy and free to download. I highly suggest you go get that list. Still with secret number 5, talk about your projects when approaching a recruiter or hiring manager, especially if you don't have experience. These projects can go kind of fall into your elevator pitch, if you will. And so, talking about, again, what your role was, what you did, how you contributed, what the purpose of that project was, can take away from your lack of actual, tangible, full time or internship work experience. Okay, so secrets 16 through 15 are the best out of the bunch. And so recruiters and hiring managers are always looking for candidates that learn more than what's in their curriculum, like I've said in earlier slides. This is important. You can't just go to school, and you can't just get a 4.0 or 3.0 and think that that's good enough. It's not. You have to be more competitive. What are you doing outside of your curriculum? What are you learning? What certifications can you get or have you gotten already? Candidates that work to implement their studies and knowledge in the workplace and in society is very important. Even if it's your Chick-fil-A job or your McDonald's job, how are you implementing the things that you're learning in your educational endeavors into the workplace or into society? Where are you volunteering? Where are you helping people or overcoming problems or determining solutions that can be used for the greater good while allowing you to display your expertise in those areas? Last but not least, candidates that know what they want. Recruiters and hiring managers want someone that knows what they want. So being specific is absolutely key to your success. A lot of candidates misinterpreted that and walk up to a hiring manager or recruiter and say things like, I'm open to everything, I'm excited about everything, I'm this and I'm that, and you don't understand what that means to a recruiter or hiring manager when you say the phrase, I am open to everything. I want to learn everything, I want to do everything. That's great that you feel that way, but there's nothing specific about that statement. Rather, it's so big and so broad and nothing that helps you stand out against a candidate that absolutely knows. I will give you an example. Let's use me as the example. So let's say someone walks up and says, when a hiring manager says, "What do you, what are your goals and what do you want to do?" And that person says, "I want to do everything. I'm open to everything, and I want to do everything. I just want to really work with people and develop solutions and create change." Okay, so take that answer and then listen to my answer. If a recruiter or hiring manager asks me, "Okay, Ashley, what do you want to do?" I would say I'm looking for a company that will allow me to implement the diversity and inclusion aspects that I have, the skills that I have gained throughout my education to change their environment. So, my goal as a potential employee of your company would be to create and develop strategies that could bring in more diverse candidates as well as retain them. And so I would want to build recruiting strategies to help with that, as well as work with hiring managers on their interview skills and making sure that we can relate to all populations and da 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 da. You see the difference in those two answers. My answer is very specific. As a candidate, I'm not telling you to be completely specific, but you need to be more inclined with what your true goals are instead of being so open and all over the place, even down to your specific goals from an organizational perspective. So can recruiters and hiring managers might ask you, what are your long-term goals, what are your short-term goals? You need to know the answer to that. My 2 to 3 year goals include X. My 5 to 10 year goals right now include Y. And right now, my present goal includes Z. And you need to be able to speak to that. That's very important. So, knowing what you want and not being afraid to say that, verbalize it, is absolutely key. So, recruiters and hiring managers are also looking for candidates that are hungry. And when I say hungry, I absolutely mean that. They're not conceited, they're not acting like the recruiter or hiring manager owes them something. Like these candidates are hungry and eager to learn. And they talk about how they want to learn these things and they want to develop these areas, they want to gain these skills. So when I say hungry, I really mean like hungry you haven't eaten in 3 days hungry, because it shows in your persona, it shows in your energy and your vibe. It shows that you're excited and wanting to pursue something versus not. So that hunger is important. They're also looking for candidates that enjoy working with teams. Regardless of how you feel about your professors and your students, you're always going to have to work some way, shape, or form in a team oriented space, period. You will. Not every place you go is going to have people that you vibe with or that you want to work with. It's the nature of the world, it's just life. So, outside of you feeling like that, like, yeah, I'll work with teams, but I'd rather work by myself and blah, blah, blah. Don't say those things. Like, people want to be able to know that you can not only work with teams, but also provide support and help to them as needed. They're also looking for candidates that can train for cross functional duties. So, change management in the workplace is important. You might have went to school for X and get hired for X, but a lot of companies want to hire someone that is open to learning other areas too. Now, some candidates might interpret it that with, oh, they just want me to do everybody's job, but only pay me for one. And that's not true. Just think about all the skills and knowledge that you will gain from the organization investing in you to teach you all these different areas or to teach you X and Y. So it'll not only help the company, of course, it will absolutely build you up with your skills and expertise and guidance, which is most important, you. Candidates that are coming with fresh ideas. Innovation is key. And so they always want someone that's not only open minded and hungry and trainable, but someone that's also not afraid to bring their ideas into the workplace and speak up in a meeting or conversation and say, "Oh, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Blah, 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 blah." So being that energetic, excited, hungry person will definitely offset you from candidates that do not do that. And last but not least, a candidate has goals. And I kind of talked about this already, but goals are key. And don't be afraid to ask the hiring manager or recruiter what the organizational or team goals that they have for their company, what their goals are. You have to have goals because it's important, but that company also needs to be able to tell you what their goals are as well. So here's a fact for you: resumes and content can be very tricky, like completely tricky to figure out. And so the contents of a resume, that's everything you have in there: your skills, your expertise, your project work, your roles and work experience, and your objectives can be tricky. So, career coaching is a great way to figure out what's most important, how to add that content, determine what that content is, where it should be placed on your resume, as well as practice your elevator pitch and interview preparation. And so, career coaching can be used to do mock interviews. It can help you develop and execute that elevator pitch, as well as work on your cover letter and your resume. So, I would highly suggest and recommend some career coaching. That way, you will, kind of build up your stamina of expertise as well as be more competitive in the market. Secret number 16: go learn a new skill. I'm so serious on this. Definitely go do this. Go step out of your comfort zone and go learn something new. Simple as that. Like, completely. Everything I've said to you so far is spot on, but this secret number 16 is key to your success. Listen to me. Go learn something new. Step out of your box. If, for example, if you're not comfortable with speaking, go learn how to speak. Go practice at school. Practice with your friends. Practice at work. Step out of your comfort zone, because let me break it to you: every role you will have to present something, create a PowerPoint for something, present to a stakeholder or vendor or customer, whatever that person is called, business partner. You will have to. And so, stepping out of your comfort zone, recognizing your weaknesses and your strengths will help you become more competitive in the market, because if you are lacking in XYZ area, you know that you can utilize your job, your networks, your friends, your family, your professors, your professionals that you know, to overcome those areas. So, as simple as that. So, here's a bonus secret for you: reference letters are the absolute best. Seriously. So, here's why: it holds people accountable and allows them to review how they feel about you before giving those details to a company. So typically back in, the old days and sometimes even current, you get um, chosen for an interview. That resume or recruiter then does that interview, and then they want to follow up about you. So they'll call your reference list, right? They'll ask for one, you'll provide it, names and emails and titles and stuff, and then they would go reach out to them. But here's the deal: once you have that open dialogue with that person you're going to actually use as a reference and have that conversation of, hey, I'm applying for this job at this company, they might call you. Please say something important about me. Great. Then that gives them the open door to pretty much say what they want about you, regardless if you coach them or not about what to say. And so with a reference letter, this kind of locks them in on what they're going to say. And so if your last 3 hiring managers wrote letters about you, they'll have a letterhead, of course, and they'll be able to talk about things that are specific to you, why they would recommend you. A letter and a list of references is like double whammy of key, because it locks them in on everything they said. So if Ashley writes a recommendation for you about how awesome you are and how you kicked butt in your last role and you're this and you're that and you're all of the above, then the recruiter or hiring manager will read that letter and they're like, okay, all these awesome things. So, based on reading that letter, then they would one of two things. They would either not need to follow up because they have the letter, but they might have some additional questions, which would be B. They follow up and they call them anyway, but that person's then locked in on what they said. So they couldn't call and ask about Ashley and ask some follow up questions. And then that hiring manager then turns around and says a bunch of different things about them because they'll be like, well, I just read this letter about you. So letters are key, they're awesome. For me, I have 7 letters of recommendation in my interview portfolio, as well as a list of, I think, about 12 references overall. And I do that because I'm very competitive. Most places ask for 2 to 3 references. I'll give you 7. Like, the more the merrier. You can never have too much of a good thing. Always pick meaningful people to be your references. So your friends and all of your family, no, you need professional people. So a mentor, a professor, absolutely a manager, a supervisor, someone that has spunk, meaningful professional spunk to you. And when you list those people, or you provide a letter with their information, make sure that their qualifications are on there. So if it's um, a PhD person, or if they're a doctor, or if they're a VP, or if they're a supervisor, manager, whatever their title is, make sure to have that on that reference letter as well as that reference list. So that way that recruiter hiring manager will know, okay, this is their previous supervisor, VP of the company, and so they'll know who they are, the kind of weight and information that they can give based on you. Last but not least, collect at least 5 references, not 3. I told you I usually have 7 letters and 12 references listed. I would usually tell candidates to do 5. Like, don't do 3. Everybody does 2, 3, or references upon request. Have it already ready to go. The more great stuff you give up front, the less I have to ask for later as a hiring manager or recruiter later. Secret number 17. Time to be competitive. Yes, this is where we are. Always, always, always have your updated resume on hand. Period. On hand, when I say on hand, I mean on your phone. Your interview portfolio should already be saved on that smart device that you have in your email, ready to go. Utilize that smartphone. Keep your interview portfolio on hand at all times. This portfolio should have your cover letter, your resume, at least 5 reference letters, and a list of references, of course, certifications, if any, degrees, if any, and project work links. Make sure you have that in there. This is absolutely important because you are going to be more competitive. You can meet someone anywhere. You can meet a recruiter at the grocery store. And this is a true story, I met a potential client in the airport. Like, you never know when you're going to meet someone. And this is me. I had on a t-shirt and tights and tennis shoes. I was in my airport travel clothes. And the outfit doesn't matter. If you can sell it and you know everything there is to know about you and what your goals are, you can talk in a trash bag, taking out the trash. Like, it does not matter. And so you need to be more competitive. And when you meet people, you don't want to be that candidate that says, oh yeah, I can give you my resume, I can send that to you tonight. No, not tonight. No, you need to have it on hand. Like, oh, Ashley, it's nice to meet you. Absolutely. And when they ask for the resume, oh, I can send that to you right now. Can you go ahead and type in your email address and I can send this to you right now? Who else do you need to send it to? I can send it to this person, this person, this person right now. Remember, to be more competitive, you have to live in the now, not the later. Period. Secret number 18. Study your resume. Study, practice, and get feedback about your pitch and content. If you do not have a professional that can provide this to you, this is also something that can be provided in career coaching, because practice makes perfect. You need someone that's professional that can actually look through your resume, help you practice, prepare you for the elevator pitch, give you content and feedback, constructive feedback at that. So this is absolutely important. So if you don't have this type of person that can give you this feedback, I would absolutely recommend a career coach to assist you with this. So, are you ready to have a bold resume and even bolder interview? Boldface Consulting is a great place because it provides virtual, phone, face to face, one on one, and group professional coaching and career coaching sessions. And the great part about this is it's always, these sessions are always with a hiring manager and recruiter. So, an experienced hiring manager and recruiter, not someone that's fresh into the role, but someone that has years of experience. And in these sessions, these coaching and professional development sessions, they are designed to go over your resume, make sure that you are ready to go, and unlike any of your competitors, they go over what your resume and letter formatting looks like, help you provide efficient content and determine what that content is to add to your cover letter and resume. Develop a resume that has the content that's specific to the professional job that you are seeking. Develop an elevator pitch that will sell beyond all of your competitors and are way better than all of your competitors. Do interview prep and go over an interview prep guide to be successful in your interviews, as well as host live mock interviews and provide feedback. And those mock interviews will be in a lot of different formats. So, a career coach will help you go through a virtual format, an in person format, a phone video format, anything. Add content that recruiters and hiring managers are absolutely seeking and looking for, which is key. And last but not least, build confidence in your knowledge, in your goals, and your experiences, and your skills, and your education, and everything else that is specific to you. And there's a lot more goodies that professional coaching and career coaching provide with Boldface Consulting. So, again, I think you should absolutely take advantage of my free 15-minute consultation. There is absolutely no obligation if you choose not to continue with services. So there's no risk. And so this free consultation you will get a tailored specific development plan that's for you. It's not some copy and paste from anyone else. Boldface Consulting creates tailored programs and tailored coaching sessions that are for the customer, which would be you. So no worries about some copy and paste situation, because that you will not receive. And in your 15-minute consultation, we will go over your goals, go over this specialized plan, how it can help you, and even the timeline of how this plan can be implemented over the next few weeks, months, and years to come. You don't want to be searching for a job forever. So it's time to land that job you are seeking and start your career, period. We all need to win. Also, you should take advantage of my free members vault. It provides unlimited resources and downloads for organizations as well as professionals. And these resources include but are not limited to toolkits, checklists, templates, ebooks, management resources, and more. And so if you visit boldfaceconsulting.com, you can sign up for free. No credit card required. I repeat, no card information required. This is completely free. Unlimited resources for free. It will be forever free. There is no charge for this service. So absolutely take advantage of all of the free goodies that can be provided to you. My name is Ashley Ray with Boldface Consulting. Thank you for your time today, and good luck on your endeavors.